Millennials have been set on a course of inflation, and not in the economic sense, but in the sense of college and higher education. The idea of college has been marketed to us to be our sort of endgame in society, making things like a high school education obsolete. Everything since the creation of the modern day economy has been about growth and expansion, but sometimes we need to be less liberal and more conservative in our economic thinking. Prices seem to always rise but never go down. The only thing that increases alongside them are wages, simply to keep one's head above water in a tub that's quickly filling up. New York City is a prime example of high minimum wage, from the effects of a high cost of living. It's easy to boast that we're moving forward and making the city more affordable, but the only mobility we have pushes an issue to another age. Enter millennials.
Companies weren't so greedy. I think that, it makes sense. I mean, like, people, not everybody can afford to like pay these exorbitant New York City prices, not always through any fault of their own. Some people are old, they can't work, or some people are disabled or whatever. And I think it's important that they have as much of a right to live here as anybody else. So there should be some units set aside for people like that.
Seniors in the city are facing a housing crisis similar to other underprivileged groups in New York, such as millennials, minorities, and the like. The city is becoming even more expensive, and most people, groups, and cultures who've historically occupied certain locations are being priced out by increases in the rent.
I've been struggling for years to try to get housing. There are so many homeless people that are seniors. Can you imagine being 90 years old and being thrown out of your apartment? All your memories are gone, all your possessions are gone. It's a horror story.
According to the Washington Post, despite the fact that millennials in New York are better educated than they were in 2000, more of them are working in low-wage industries such as retail and hospitality.
I think millennials can find jobs outside of college. I mean, like, if you look hard enough, you'll find employment if you have the skill sets. But I think it's definitely a lot harder, especially now. I think it's hard for millennials to find jobs that they want. It's easy to get a job, or maybe it's not that hard to find a job, but getting into something that you actually went to school for and something that you actually want to do is getting harder and harder nowadays.
It's like people that should go to college are doctors, lawyers, just things that you wouldn't learn on the street. I'm in the music industry, and my whole focus, like my whole life throughout college, was geared towards like the music industry, and everything I learned in college, I really don't use it for, anything that I do within the music industry. I do artist management, and I do like creative marketing. But when it comes to creative marketing, I'm just like helping out with like graphic design, branding, like helping like style and artists.
Millennials are the largest group in the workforce, but it's unfortunately a case of quantity over quality, and that's the main issue facing millennials today.
Rework the school system, bro. Like I feel like education is based off a couple subject that they just handpicked, like maths and science. Like I feel like the school system should be focused more on things that we can apply to the jobs that or careers that we're gonna ultimately end up with, rather than to just be like a general section. Overall, I just don't feel like the school system focuses on helping you with actual life skills. Like I feel like it's just a bunch of stuff that they put together and want you to get good grades on it so that you can get this degree to pass off in life. But other than that, it's just pointless. That's just my views on school though.
As George Orwell stated, each generation imagined itself to be more intelligent than the one that went before it, and wiser than the one that comes after it. Many things in the world have become overly complicated due to technology, and some of the most simple aspects of life and maturity seem to be left out of our zeitgeist.
You gotta learn how to handle your finances. That's like a giant part of adulting. You know, you're always gonna set a budget for yourself. You know, a lot of people get overwhelmed and like they don't know how to deal with a lot of the mental pressure that they're under while adulting. So I just feel like, you know, learning more about it would help you cope with it better. And for the last one, critical thinking for sure. Just because I enjoyed critical thinking when I was in BMCC, it like helped me, you know, think about every ends to a situation, you know? Like it helped me look at like different perspectives rather than to just, you know, be biased to my own. Like for instance, if we're on the train and someone passes out from exhaustion, instead of just being like, yo, get this guy off the train, I gotta get to work, I'd be like, yo, he's probably like seriously injured right now. A lot of New Yorkers would just be like, yo, get this guy off the train, we're late for work. But you know, it just forced me to think about the other side of the situation rather than to just go off my own and be inconsiderate.
All right, well, thank you.
No problem, man.
I believe the answer is simple. We need to stop focusing on the outcome of the job market in terms of college and higher education and focus on the opportunities we afford to students whilst in the process of educating them.